Okay, so this is my management philosophy book. My first page is about my philosophy, and I'm kind of a medium-low control philosophy based on William Glasser and Barbara Polaroso. And I chose this one because I believe that students have a lot of inner potential and that they need to learn how to regulate their own behavior as a life skill. And the way I'm going to do that is by having the class help create the rules. They'll be expected to help create the rules, to participate in classroom meetings, and to take responsibility for their actions and make their own decisions. And as the teacher will enforce the rules, give them the opportunities they need to make decisions for themselves, and I will also guide them to correct their behavior when they need that help. And in my classroom, the student-teacher relationship will be based on dignity, respect, and a concern for learning. And this is my democratic classroom page. So all the topics are here, and I have a paragraph written under each one. I'll just explain a couple of them. Basically, my philosophy statement talks about how I want my classroom to help students develop the knowledge and skills they need to be contributing members of our democratic society. And I want to give them the opportunities they need to develop those skills in my classroom. So one example is student voice. I want to have classroom meetings with my class where they can voice their concerns, what they like, and I will do my best to listen to them and to change accordingly my plans. Another one is self-government. They will try to solve their own problems instead of always coming to me. And if they do come to me, I'll ask them what they've done themselves to try and solve their problem. If they've done everything they can, then I will sit down with them and come up with a solution. But first, they'll be expected to try and solve it on their own. And then another one is they will be given choices on how to complete their work for student choice. And for civility, one idea I have is to have a concern box where they'll be able to write down anything that is happening in class that's a problem or a struggle for them and put it in this box for me to read later so that they don't interrupt class, but they still get the validation that they need and I still find out the information I need. And then the next page is motivation, or yes, I think that's the next page. Motivation. So I want to use mostly intrinsic motivation because I believe that students need to learn how to learn because it's a good thing for them and not because of rewards. But that being said, they might need some extrinsic rewards in the beginning at least to help motivate them to do their work and then feel that satisfaction from completing their work. And I plan to use small extrinsic rewards like positive praise or free learning time so that learning is a reward to motivate them. And then hopefully by using strategies like having the lessons be focused on things students are interested in, having them be engaged, and giving them choices, giving them control, they will be motivated in my classroom. Next is classroom rules. Classroom rules. So I left this spot blank in case I have more. But basically in my class, I want the students to help create the rules with me, so I don't have a list of rules I'm going to have. But I think it will be important that they focus on letting learning and teaching happen in the classroom. And I will be the enforcer of the rules. The students will create them and be responsible to follow them. And I see misbehavior as an opportunity to teach and evidence that students need to learn something. And so I'm going to, the way I react to misbehavior will depend a lot on the situation and on how often it has happened and the severity of it, but I will always give a warning, and if the student continues to misbehave, I will sit down, either apply a logical consequence or sit down and have a teacher conference with them if it's something I view as more significant or severe. If they continue to do that, they may lose a privilege, And yeah, that is kind of the classroom rules. And then prevention. So one of the most important things with prevention is having a positive relationship with students. And one way I want to do that is just to get to know my students, just interact with them as much as I can on the playground, in the classroom, during free time, before school, after school, and get to know what they like and have a personal relationship with each one of them so that they feel they can trust me. And when they do, then they will be more likely to listen to my counsel and guidance and the things that we're doing in class. And I'll also have procedures in my classroom which allow teaching and learning to happen, and they accomplish tasks with efficiency. So anything that I think could be improved with having a procedure, I can make a procedure for. And with that, it's really important that the procedures are taught right before they're needed, not so far in advance, and that they're reviewed, that the students model them, that I model it for them, that we practice together before they're actually expected to do it on their own. And then the next page is interventions. So I lined them all up and drew the arrows here, but so the one I chose to talk about for mild is the one where students are talking during instruction. I would just use proximity for that. I do that all the time when I'm substituting, and it pretty much always works. For moderate, the one where student is disrupting another student, I would, so, yeah. So I would give them a warning, and if they kept doing it, then I would have them move to another seat, and then after the class I'd pull them aside and talk to them about their behavior and ask them why they did it and what they could do better next time. And then for chronic, I did student pushes another student in line, and that goes under aggressive behavior. And I said that I would pull the student aside privately, and I would listen to why they did that, what their reasoning was, so that I understood the whole situation, the context, and then I would make sure to acknowledge their feelings if they were feeling frustrated or upset, and talk about what they could do the next time, like using their words instead of pushing. But I would make sure that they were the ones that were really thinking of the solution, so they would do it. And then for bullying, I want to be able to lead a class discussion on bullying in my classroom, and teach social skills so that kids don't become victims, and that use extra effort to include everyone in all class activities. And lastly is my classroom map. And this, so the reason I arranged the way I did, mostly the desks are in groups, because I feel like it's really, really important for students to have the opportunity to talk to each other and discuss the things that they're learning. And they also will have the opportunity that way to have social interaction and develop and practice social skills that they need. And I also set it up so that there's room for centers. There's tables back here, and there's beanbags in the library, because this way I can easily set up centers or have places where students can go who need help, and students can do more independent work and develop that ability to kind of control their own learning. And I also want my classroom to be really organized so that students don't feel overwhelmed or have a feeling of chaos, but feel calm and assured that everything is in its place, and so that they can focus on learning. And here is my classroom map narrative and my personal philosophy paper. And I have all the rest of my materials in the pockets. Thank you.